Hey everybody, today I'm going to be reviewing Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. This was directed by Helena Rain. This is kind of a devilish side grin of a film. It is very confident in its tone throughout. It's definitely a satire, a lot of black comedy going on, though I don't think it's quite as savage as it wants to believe that it is. It does feel like the A24 vehicle of the moment in the sense that it's, a nicely packaged kind of art house satire that is about Gen Z, packaged maybe a little bit too neatly, and the irony is maybe a little bit too on the nose. That said, I did enjoy the film, just kind of on a basic level, but just the feeling I kept having once I left the theater was just, I just wanted more. This is essentially like this generation's version of Funny Games, like, directed by Michael Haneke, just minus the danger and the edge. To me, that film is more of a thesis, more of an experiment than it is a film, and Haneke, I think, was very honest about that, but that's a film that is very much like it's a frigid stare that just gazes right into the soul of the viewer, and this film, by contrast, has, a softness to it. There's a safeness to it. And I think it actually takes a little bit too much comfort in the whole idea of irony, in the idea of satire, and it keeps the whole story and the emotions from flourishing, in my opinion. So what is this film about? Well, you have a group of young friends, and apparently they've known each other a long time. Some are bringing boyfriends and girlfriends and such, and they are spending the weekend at one of their, their family's big homes, and they're basically just there to swim and party, glow sticks and Xanax and Coke lines aplenty. As shenanigans ensue, they play a game called Bodies, 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 which is just one of those destructive games that young people play when they are drunk. Those games are often, masking that they're trying to pull all kinds of cruelty and humiliation out of people, but always downplayed, of course, as, hey, it's just a game, man. Why can't you have a good time? Chill out. And I like the idea of the game becoming this, social experiment by which the audience is going to be tested as voyeurs, and in turn the characters as well are going to be tested. And my favorite thing about it is just seeing all of these people, all of these friends who supposedly know each other so well. And you're seeing all kinds of subtle or not so subtle jabs at each other and a lot of smiling through gritted teeth. It's that surfacey sort of dialogue buzzing with all kinds of intent beneath it. And it's the artifice, I think, of those social interactions that just feel right on the edge. It's a laugh away from a scream, basically. And also the fact that these characters are literally, toying with knives and they're probing each other's toxicity and all kinds of emotional troubles. And it's the idea of performance as well. It's like somebody playing a killer in a fake game like this, or getting really angry at a friend and telling them that you wish you could slit their throat, fun stuff. Is it an empty threat, or is there something behind it? It's that thin line that is separating that from reality that I think would have been really interesting if they had really probed that. And I like how that unraveling can create something quite tragic in the end of it, potentially. I do think that the cast is actually pretty good in this film. Pete Davidson in particular, I think, is a highlight for me, a standout. I think he's the most at ease with the humor, just understanding the irreverence of it and all of that. I think the problem, though, does come from the fact that once the game is set in motion and people are really dying, once bodies are actually starting to drop, you would think that the tension would build accordingly, but it really doesn't. It just kind of stays fairly even keel on the same level, and I'm enjoying the film as I'm watching it, for sure. I like a lot of the lines. I do find myself quite amused, but I just want a little bit of danger, I guess, accompanying my amusement. And as the film goes on, of course, it becomes less about who is the killer, who's the person doing all of this, and it becomes more about, of course, unpacking a lot of emotional issues of the characters. And again, all of this potentially is really great. I like the subversion of all of these things, and I like just the imagery is actually kind of nice. The idea of like seeing all these young people just standing around, the glow of their phones, like they're dragonflies, just desperate for light. How they're running around with knives and guns, but they have like, glow necklaces around their necks and bloody faces. I don't know, just that imagery is quite funny. But yeah, I do wish that the film wasn't, I guess, relying so heavily on just a lot of those cliches, like the Twitter-based dialogue as an example, because I think it does cut us off from really probing a lot of the emotions and the thesis more. And I am intrigued by the characters, but I'm just not emotionally invested. It's not carrying me all the way through. It's almost like the film is trying to it's like psyching the audience out or trying to prepare us for something as it guides us through all of these different tropes so it can subvert them. But it's calculated, and it's saying, I think, a lot less than it thinks. And it just kind of ruminates in all of these tropes that we've seen in all kinds of previous films, like, like young teens running around an IKEA store, and they're going in all the different little room setups playing house, but they don't really understand what house means. I guess what I'm trying to say is it doesn't fully understand how to subvert those tropes in an interesting way where it's really singing. I want these characters to be more than just extensions of like social media personas. When I look at something like Funny Games, a film that I really, really like, I like that the film is a mix of fantasy and reality. It's like the villains are clearly meant to be kind of that element of the trope. It's like those are symbols of a particular type of horror villain, and they waltz right into, the reality of this family, and they're breaking all internal logic in the process of that. But it's the grounding in reality, I think, that is really important. It gives you that feeling of what you would do in that situation. And to me, that's a very important aspect of things, because certain gimmicks, even if they are fun, even if they are clever, they can only stretch so far before I think they needed to be tested. You do have a character here who is the stand-in for the audience, and her name is Bee, and she's kind of meant to be the outsider, to this friend group. She is, a girlfriend of one of the friends, so she doesn't know these people. So you're kind of entering the film on her shoulder, and you're both meant to be that blank slate, the innocent observer. But of course, she, like everybody seemingly in the film, she's got secrets of her own. And I was hoping that this character would be the one to maybe unlock some of those emotions and carry, a full arc through. But unfortunately, I feel like her character is way too vague. I wanted to understand her internal conflict and that alienation that she felt a little bit more, because we really just needed that element of humanity. But I do feel like she felt more distant as well. And another really huge problem I had that keeps me from I guess, being emotionally invested is that these characters, to me, they don't seem like they know each other. Or at least maybe they don't know each other for very long. It feels like you got a bunch of 20-something actors together, and you just told them, hey, pretend like you're friends, and they gave them maybe like one rehearsal. Don't get me wrong, the actors themselves are excellent, like I said, and maybe with the proper direction or really good writing, you could pull something really amazing out of them. I really think that you could. But yeah, I think overall, just looking at the movie while I was watching it, even though I'm very critical of it, I did enjoy it. I did think that there were fun elements in it. It just wasn't particularly tense for me in the way that I wanted it to be. And the twist at the end, I did think it was very funny, for sure. I'm just not sure it's really that effective, because it is, quite predictable when you look at the overall idea of the film. Like I said, it has its moments of like very pointed visual style that can be poetic at times, but I guess I wanted more of like something a little bit more pronounced, something like Spring Breakers or something that has a little bit more visual complexity. And again, more than anything, I just want a lot more kind of boldness in your face when it comes to the thematic perspective. And, the emotions as well. But, if you're bored one night, just want to watch something fun, this could be a fun rental for you. But that is the review. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to plug my website, as always. It is deepfocuslens.com. I'm an artist. I do commission portraits, and I also sell prints of my work. If that is something that you're interested in, you can always go to the website below. And if you have a question about a commission or a print, you can always email me. My email is in the description box below as well. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to my patrons, who are wonderful. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you are interested in supporting, the link for that is below, as well as the rest of my social media information. You can watch more videos here, and you can subscribe if you'd like. Catch you next time.